you were with some more people, Miss
Last night?
Easton.
Oh, that was Monday night.
Monday night. Yes, I'm sorry, Monday night.
Yeah, that was for the culture. We were talking about cooperative economics, and that video is actually not on our Facebook right now, but I will put it back.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, post that. That was awesome.
Yeah. I'm glad you were there. I'm glad you attended. I think we are live on Facebook. I'll trust Tony or Tasha to let me know if we're not. I think I did it correctly. It looks like Facebook and Zoom has changed one more time, the whole live process. So I'll go in and make edits when necessary. But good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see here. Yep. All right. I am Magali. I purposely put myself spotlighted this time because Zoom has changed in this one night, overnight. Zoom has changed, so I couldn't see myself. But Magali is sent, and I am the interim executive director for Hustle Winston-Salem, which is an organization that is dedicated to inclusive entrepreneurship. Before I go deeper into my introductions, I really do encourage you all to use the chat function, and those of you on Facebook, the comment section, to introduce yourself and tell us about your business and who you are and anything else that you want to share with us. And also, before I tell you about marketing outside the box and more about myself, I just want to kind of stress something that I stressed last week. If you are not receiving our weekly newsletters, I really do encourage you to sign up to receive those newsletters so that I don't go over some things. I'm not going to do it today like I did last week, but I know a few of you send us emails, and honestly, every time, every question that you ask, the answer is probably in our newsletter. I mean, often there's a chance that it won't be, but I would almost say 9 times out of 10, what you're looking for is in any of our newsletters. So definitely make sure that you are receiving those and paying attention to those. And if you're not on the newsletter email list, you can visit hustlews.org and go to the Connect tab, and you can sign up for our newsletter on the Connect tab. Anyways, so you're here for Marketing Outside the Box, not to hear me preach about you joining our newsletter. So Marketing Outside the Box, for those that are new with us today, Marketing Outside the Box is a weekly, it's a series that we do monthly, but we have it every single week throughout the month. We have a theme for each month. And the theme that we've been going with this particular month has been a thin line between marketing and customer service, which hopefully you all know that, which is why you are here. And we do Marketing Outside the Box in partnership with the Foresight Tech Small Business Center and the Flywheel Co-working Space here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So if you're not from Winston-Salem, welcome. If you're not from the Triad, welcome. And definitely visit both of those sites and learn more about both of those organizations. So during week 1 of this particular series, and I guess I should share my screen. Am I sharing my screen? Or are you all looking at me? You're looking at me. Nice going, Mags. One moment. Am I sharing my screen? Anyone can give me a thumbs up. Miss Wanda, I can see you. So if you give a thumbs up. Okay, Rick, I got your thumbs up. All right, cool. So during week 1 of this particular series, we focused on getting to know your customer again. During week 2, we went through customer connections, and last week we talked about being authentic. And today, which is the last day of this particular series, we're focused on audience targeting and linking that to your customer service journey. So that's what we'll talk about for the most part today. But since it is the last day of the series, if you do have any questions about any of the previous sessions that we did in this series, don't hesitate to ask those questions as well at any point during the presentation. So let's start with a definition today. Let's start with, audience targeting. That's what we're talking about. What is it? And honestly and truly, audience targeting is the method of separating your consumers, your customers, into segments based on the interest or demographic data. So again, as I previously mentioned, we started this series with getting to know your customer again. And we're now closing it out with catering to those customers. So some of you might remember during that session, we talked about your customer profiles and your customer personas. So we talked about that during week 1 and a little bit during week 2. Well, audience targeting aligns with this as well. It aligns with that customer profile and that customer persona. So knowing demographics like the age, the average income, interest, location, gender, etc., these things assist you in providing the best service to your customers. So other considerations that can be helpful during this process with audience targeting is psychographics. Those are the values and motivations that impact a customer's buyer's journey, a consumer's buyer's journey. And we explored a little bit of those psychographics, the values and the motivations last week when we talked about being authentic. We talked about some of those values and the journeys and things of that nature. I'm gonna remove my spotlight there, perfect. So now that I hope you have a clear understanding of what audience targeting is. Let me know if you don't, but hopefully you have a clear understanding of that. You may ask yourself, how do you best put it into practice in relation to customer service? How do you put audience targeting into practice as it relates to customer service? My answer to that is that do what the experts do. Simple, like literally do what the experts do. Conduct your own focus groups. This can be direct or indirect. So an example of direct, I'll use a real life example for me. So currently the BB&T and Truist, formerly known as BB&T and Truist, is now BB&T and SunTrust, excuse me. BB&T and SunTrust, that's what they were known as before. They're now known as Truist. So I'm one of their selected customers of only God knows how many customers they're surveying in this focus group. But I'm one of their selected customers that they're watching and learning ways to better provide service when they fully complete their merger. So they are learning what customers like me, what we want, what we need, what we like, what we dislike. And I'm positive they have multiple focus groups. I'm sure I fit a focus group that they're looking for, millennials or African-American women, age 25 to 34. Hopefully I didn't tell you my age in that, but ages 25 to 34, single, no kids, live alone. Like they're probably looking at certain things, and I fit a particular focus group that they're gathering data from. And I'm sure, again, they have a number of different focus groups that they are doing that with. So if you want to have specific customers, you can always, if you have specific customers that you're trying to kind of serve in a focus group, you can always entice them with incentives for participating in a focus group. And you can do it the way the way Truist is doing it. You can do it that way where it's very, very scheduled. They're sending us an email and we signed up for it. We agreed to it. They're sending us an email once a week. We're answering questions. They're showing us, examples of things that they want to roll out, and we're providing feedback. You can do it that way, or you can do it where it's a one-time, if we were still in person, we'll be in person for real. So you can do it in person. Focus groups work really well in person. You have everybody in a room together, and even in virtual spaces, you can do it. Going back to the Truist example, just last week, they did this, and they're doing it again next week. They put everyone in our focus group on a Zoom meeting together so that we can interact and respond to certain features. So there are a number of ways you can do that in a direct way. And for some of those incentives for you, that can be a $5 gift card to your business. It could be a free product, a free service. It could be whatever you want it to be. Prime example, Nielsen. How many of you are familiar with, well, hopefully you're familiar with Nielsen. They do a lot of surveying. So they're experts in surveying consumers, right? I never check my mail, but I checked my mail this past weekend, and they mailed me, and I'm sure a million other people, they mailed me $2 cash with a survey in the envelope. And it's because I fit some type of demographic that they need to survey that about our TV watching habits, right? So I must fit some demographic. And I could never take the survey and they just handed me $2. But if I take the survey and mail it back to them, they'll also send an additional $5 in cash. Now that's a total of $7. Not a lot of money, but I'm gonna take that survey and get my $5. I'm gonna get my $7, okay? So I share all of that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So sorry. Before you close it, somebody has said that they hear an echo, and I also hear it too.
Oh.
So I wanted to bring that to your attention.
I don't know why I have an echo. Do you still hear an echo? I don't know what to do. Are you still hearing an echo, Tony?
No.
Okay, maybe it was this fan by me. Okay, there was a fan by me that I just turned off. Maybe it was that. Okay, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I apologize. Did you all hear everything I was saying, though? It was just echoey.
I did. I heard everything you said. It was
Okay.
just
Apologies about that. Thank you so much. Okay. So those were all kind of direct ways you can do it, but you can also do indirect focus groups, which if you were with us back in September, I think, when we talked about email marketing, that's another indirect way for you to kind of put together a focus group. We talked a little bit about the A/B testing at that time. I won't go into it today. You can always go back to that September session and review those videos, but you can set up your email marketing to do A/B testing for you and let the internet, let the interwebs do the work for you at no additional cost. So they can kind of, you decide who you want to put in the focus group, or based on certain email habits and whatever platform you're using, it can create your focus group for you. And you're testing certain things with that group, whether you're only emailing that group specific features, whether you're emailing them specific services, whether you're asking them only about a survey. However you decide to do it, you make that work in your favor. And in those cases, you almost never have to provide incentives. And to be fair, you don't have to provide incentives with direct ways either. It's just courteous, I think, depending on how much you're asking from people. All right, so a major part of audience targeting is to be in a constant state of understanding who you're talking to. In order to provide the best customer service experience, you cannot rely on knowing information about your customer from 3 to 5 years ago. Like, you just can't. As we shared last week, there has been major life-altering things that have impacted perspectives of consumers everywhere. So with that in mind, instead of trying to give the impression that you have engaged your customer, and that you understand where they are and what they're doing in life, and that you know your customer really well, instead of giving that impression, the best thing you can do is actually engage them and make sure you understand where they are emotionally, where they are mentally, where their spending habits are. And that ties back to focus groups and surveys and things of that nature, because in order to know their spending habits, you're either really watching them intently or you're asking them, right? So by asking them and engaging them in this way, not only will they trust you more because they know you've engaged them, and they know that you're hopefully you're taking in their responses and making that be the type of customer journey they want, because they've said to you, this is what I want, and you're creating that within your business. So not only is that happening, but you've helped them understand you as a business better, and they're more loyal to you in that way. So you gain trust by understanding, you gain their trust by understanding them, or them understanding your brand as well. Okay. The other thing is to consider when you're aiming to understand who your brand is talking to. The other thing to consider is let the magic of customer attraction work all on its own. And what I mean by that is sometimes we are very, very clear on who we want our brand to attract, but it's attracting a different audience, right? So don't ignore that. Don't ignore if your brand seems to be attracting a different audience than what you want to attract. Don't ignore that. This can be a benefit, or it can be a wake-up call for you. It can be a benefit because it may open up a new audience that you didn't know existed, and that can allow you to thrive, or it can be a wake-up call saying, if you know that you want to attract a particular audience, but you're not, then that means you're doing something wrong potentially, either in your marketing, or the customers that you are attracting, they are the customers you want, but they're not staying, and that's because your customer service is not where it needs to be. So like I said, that can work in your favor, where it's either saying, oh my goodness, here's an opportunity for a new target audience, a new audience targeting for you. Or it can be where, okay, this is the audience you say you want to target, but this is the audience you're getting. If you really want to target that audience, you need to make some changes. And that those changes can come in your marketing efforts all the way down through your customer service experience. Because I mean, imagine creating a customer journey guide for, I like to use generations, obviously, but imagine creating a customer journey guide for Generation X, and millennials, and and you realize that Gen Z is who's coming to you, or who your primary customer is, but your service style isn't catering to Gen Z. To Gen Z, yeah. Gen X, Gen Z. Yes. Your customer service style is not catering to Gen Z. So they leave because they're sick and tired of their version of subpar service from you, because your customer service is still catering to the minds of someone in Gen X or Gen Y and or millennials. We are Gen Y. You know what I mean? So just kind of think about it. That would be tragic to lose your customers that way, just because you're not paying attention to the service you're providing them, because you're targeting the wrong group in your services, in how you provide your services. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. Now that you have a few things in mind that focuses audience targeting and customer service for you, let's chat a little bit about the cost of customers and a few strategies around making the cost worth its value. So the customer lifetime value to customer acquisition ratio, that measures the relationship between the lifetime value of a customer and the cost of acquiring the customer. The metric that you see there, it's computed by dividing the lifetime value by the cost of acquiring the customer. It's a signal of customer profitability and of sales and marketing efficiency. So what does this have to do with customer service, right? Well, the hard truth is, the reality is that the cost of acquiring customers has gone up considerably. It has gone up ridiculously, right? And this is not just in the last year or two. It's constantly going up. The cost of getting new customers is constantly going up. Meanwhile, the lifetime value of these new customer relationships have been declining. So it's costing you more to get new customers, but the cost of the relationship with those new customers, the value of the relationship with those new customers is declining. And that has a lot to do with the customer service experience that those new customers are going through. So, you attract them with this marketing and saying, we have this to offer you and you're going to love this. And they're like, wow, I'm going to try that. Awesome. Great company, great product, whatever. But their experience down to the customer service is just not where it needs to be. They are going to leave. And that's why you see that it's not that relationship is declining. And this is not me making up stats. You can Google this on your own. I don't know the percentage off the top of my mind, but those relationships are declining more and more. So you definitely want to make sure that you are paying attention to that customer service journey that you are giving your consumers, because it's the make or break no matter how much marketing you do. Okay. So what that also means is, excuse me, let me change my slide here. What that also means is, simply put, acquiring new customers is expensive. And when businesses do acquire them, thanks to an increase in competition, because people now have options, they don't have to deal with your piss poor customer service, right? So thanks to increased competition and options that simply didn't exist before, and that could be, the internet or whatever, customers are churning faster. So again, while I'm not implying that you simply give up on the idea of new customers, I'm not telling you to quit trying to get new customers. What I want to stress here is that there is a lot of value, and some can argue there's more value, in catering your customer service strategies to maintaining the loyalty of your current customers. Meaning your current customers need to experience superb customer service from you and your team at all times. Because again, going back to this slide, that lifetime value, it's not going to last too long if they're not getting what they want. And they have options. So if you're not watering those plants, think of your customers as plants that you need to water daily, your current customers. You need to take care of them daily. If you are not watering those plants and giving them that A+ excellent service, then they're going to leave. And there's really not much you can do about it because, again, those options are there. You know, we see this a lot with, at least I see it. Let me not say we, I'll speak from my personal experience. I see this a lot with phone companies and cable companies. They get this wrong all the time. They will attract you with all of the best deals. They'll attract us with, you know, all of the best things they have as a potential new client. Even as a long-term customer, I'm looking at the offers to new potential clients, and I'm just like, well, I want that. And they're like, well, you don't qualify. And it's just the weirdest thing, right? So, and they ignore how they're handling existing customers. The customer service with a lot of these companies, in my experience, it's been subpar. It's been like the standard for me is always excellence. And if it's not excellent, then I am one of those customers that's like, I don't have to deal with this. I'm leaving. So, yeah. So if I'm like that, I know there are 50,000 other people daily that are like that. So eventually customers like us, again, we get tired of the lack of quality customer service and we leave. So what I'm stressing to you is, focus on not just getting new customers, not just acquiring those new customers, but a lot of that, as far as you think about lifetime value and making sure that your business is constantly flowing in sales, making money, that customer retention is important, and that customer retention is key through the customer service journey. Hopefully that's all making sense, because if you do the math, you probably, I don't know this for sure, but I almost can bet that if you do the math, you will see you are making more money with customers that you already have than with customers who are new and leaving. I can almost bet that you will see that. Okay. All right, let me keep going. So yeah, well, I want to have a quick engagement moment before I go through the rest of the presentation here. And you can answer the next, I think it's just 1 or 2 questions I have. Just a show of hands or respond in the chat, whichever one works for you. And Tony and Tasha, you have to help me out with the chat, and on Facebook as well if there are any responses there. Okay, so as we discussed during the Customer Connection Week, which was 2 weeks ago, and even if you weren't here, you can still participate on this. Based on the information and your knowledge of your business, based on the information from that week and then in your individual knowledge of your business, what is the most important customer service skill for your audience from the list that you see here on the screen? Is it the product knowledge? Is it problem solving? Is it patience? Is it positive attitude? Or is it taking personal responsibility? So feel free to unmute yourself. I want to hear from a few people, maybe 2 or 3 people. Which one is at the top for you in your business, and why? Which one of these things is the most important customer service skill for you in your business, and why? And don't you all jump out at once, just 3 people. Feel free to unmute yourself. Well, I'm gonna start calling names. Either way works.
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a hard choice, but I think I'm gonna go with positive attitude, mainly because I feel like if somebody's walking into the store or even talking to me online or over the phone, if they see me smiling and having a good time, hopefully that can just start the whole thing off on the right foot and either, I don't know, keep them in a good mood or get them in a good mood if they weren't before. And I think that'll just be, I don't know, I'm gonna go with that. Okay, and who was that, Aixa? Yes. Okay. So Aixa said for her, it's positive attitude, and you heard why. That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Maybe 1 or 2 more people. Which one is the most important customer service skill for your audience, and why?
So in the chat, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say for mine is problem solving. I'm in the financial services industry, and most of the times when people come to me, they're having some sort of issue, whether it's they're trying to save money, trying to have a better budget. They may have some issues going on with their credit. They may not have any insurance, or they don't have enough. So a lot of times they'll come and tell me what the problem is or what's going on with them, and they're pretty much looking for somebody to help them to solve it. So that's why I say for me, it's problem solving.
Awesome. Thank you. And that was Shannon, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Shannon.
Mhm.
And Tony, I think you were about to share something.
I was gonna say the responses in the chat. So Rachel said problem solving, Rick said personal responsibility, and Paul said problem.
Problem solving, said Paul. Cool. I think so there's no right or wrong answer here. First remember, all of these are important. There are probably a list of 20 things that's important when you're talking about customer service skills. So all of these are important. So there's no right or wrong answer. It just also, that's why I asked you which one would be at the top of your list for your audience and why. And I think you all gave great responses, both Aitza as well as Shannon, because you know your business and you understand, okay, if this is the problem I am solving, because remember, all businesses are solving a problem. What's the most important thing to my client, right? And that's kind of how you determine which one is the most important thing. For me, I think about my events business. I really struggle with problem solving and personal responsibility. I think and if anything goes wrong, customers, my clients, they don't care about, they don't really care what the reason is. Like, it's your responsibility, you fix it. And then that goes right into solving whatever that problem is. So I don't know, I struggle with those two to say which one is at the top, but they're really, really close. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for participating in that. So the next one isn't exactly a question. It's not a quiz question, but what I want to bring back to mind for some of you that were here is the idea that we discussed earlier in the series, and encourage you to aim at accomplishing at least one of these in the next week. So we talked about some of this. If it wasn't last week, it was the week before. We talked about this, and I'm going to give you a task. Before I continue with the presentation here, I'm going to give you a task, and that task is to do one of these things. Either it's letter writing, where you handwrite a letter to a few customers, you decide who those customers are, or you can do comments and reviews, which is you're going to spend 30 minutes one day next week responding to those. You're going to go to your Google reviews or wherever else your reviews are, or you're going to go to your Facebook, Instagram comments and actually reply to people. Or you can do employee engagement, which, if you all remember, I think this was 2 weeks ago, we stressed the importance, if you have a team, and even if you're the only employee, of making sure employees are engaged in that customer service process, because that's who your customers are dealing with most of the time. So with your employee engagement, spending some time with your team and doing a little role play where you step into the difficult customer's shoes. And that could be a 15-minute thing that you do with your team. So again, it's not a quiz, but I would like to hear from one or two people to share which one you plan to do this week. And I'm going to hold you accountable. So which one you plan to do this week. Tell me one, and it'd be great if you do all of them, but choose one that you plan to do this week. And I would like to hear from two different people. So I might call some names if you don't volunteer yourself. I'm going to go with Nicole and CJ. Are you all in a position to unmute yourself or type in the chat?
I am.
Okay.
So I think what me and my team will do this week is do some of this role playing stuff.
Sorry, go ahead, CJ.
And just kind of try to understand that customer plight a little bit more, and come up with some responses, and just kind of really touch in on that and get a little bit more detail oriented with it.
Cool. And tell us your business, CJ.
So my business is called Rooted Towers. It's a lifestyle brand, and it's a family business, and it's based on growing and building.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And I think that's wonderful. That's one of the hardest things, stepping into that difficult customer shoe, because most of the times we're like, okay, you are doing a lot. Right? Sometimes we're like, this customer, just because you understand your process and the customer might not. So
Right.
you understand why you can or cannot provide whatever it is that they are upset about, but stepping into their shoes allows you, like, this customer might have had the worst day. This was the one thing they came to purchase as a gift in your business for someone else. As far as I'm assuming lifestyle brand, you maybe have t-shirts and other things like that. They can purchase this shirt as a gift to their uncle for whatever, creating these stories and personas to try to understand where this person is coming from, why this one situation is so hard and so difficult for them. So I think that's great for you to work on that with your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
CJ. Nicole, are you there with us? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, I think I'm going to jump into Kimberly instead. I just want to hear from one more person. Kimberly, are you there? Or is everybody just quiet today? 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, I think I'll move on unless one more person wants to share. Anyone before I move on?
Magley, I'll comment really quickly. It's Rachel.
Okay.
I like the concept of letter writing because everything is so digital these days that I think it's just nice to get something in the mail that's not a bill or a solicitation or some junk. So I would say that that is a nice, very personalized touch for existing customers.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I absolutely agree. I think that this puts your company and your brand at the top. In addition to being a great customer service tactic, it puts your business back at the top of mind for a customer. And you'll hear a little bit about this next month, but it'll encourage them to also tell other people about your business. You won't believe Rachel, what's your company again?
It's called Studio Mackay.
You won't believe
I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to focus
Mackay.
on, but I'm a graphic designer and a professional chalkboard artist. So
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes.
that's me.
Did you ever connect with the other Nicole at Center for Creative Economy?
We started to touch base, but
Okay.
everybody's got so much going on. I'll circle back around to her.
Okay, cool. So yeah, thank you so much again, Rachel, as well. So while I'm encouraging all of you all to do at least one of these next week, and you will receive this presentation by Friday, but while I'm encouraging you to do at least one of these next week, it's not a bad idea to figure out a cadence that works for you to do some of this stuff regularly. And that cadence can be monthly, it can be quarterly. However, whatever works for you, again, based on your particular audience, because your audience, you're targeting a certain group, this group that this group likes to be reached once a week. So maybe you might do one of these things once a week. That this is a group you have a target audience that don't want you to send them stuff, but maybe once every couple of months. So maybe you're a quarterly person. So whatever the case may be, it may be a good idea to figure out a cadence to do this with your particular audience. And it doesn't have to be just these 3 things. There are a number of things that you can put into your customer service task list that you kind of make sure you and your team are executing on. And as you see, I purposely put the employee engagement one because that's an internal task that directly impacts your external customers, okay? All right, so getting back to audience targeting here. That was just our little commercial break. So again, in the past, customer service meant picking up the phone to hear from your customers or serving them in person. Rachel just talked about it would be really nice to get something in writing from someone because everything is so digital and virtual nowadays. So we all know that customer service now is both offline and online. We know that. And this is due to technological advancements, the internet, etc. But because of that, it's created an always on customer service culture, meaning people always expect to be able to interact or reach your company in some way, shape, or form, whether that's through email and they're getting an automatic response that tell them you'll get back to them in 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever your timeline is. It's just the whole concept that customer service is always on. There's not a time that you're off with customer service, right? And so because of that, it definitely increases the number of interactions between customers and your company. And each and every one of those interactions represents a marketing opportunity. Every one of those customer service interactions represent a marketing opportunity. When a customer reaches out on social media regarding your business or your service, there's an opportunity to provide stellar service just through social media. You can provide stellar service if you put the energy and time into it. Similarly, when you create a chatbot greeting for your website or your social channels, because you can do that on Facebook, and I think you can even do it on Instagram now too, and I know you can do it on LinkedIn. When you create those chatbots for your website, that's an opportunity to convert your visitors into leads. And really the customer service aspect comes in there based on how well you personalize that chatbot to provide great service. So you can personalize a chat box to help a customer search for something on your website, to help a customer know exactly, when they should be able to expect a package or delivery, to help a customer understand, right now during COVID, with your service in your office, you're only taking, 2 clients a day. If you do whatever you can personalize that chatbot to where customers feel like, wow, I got on your website at 3:30 in the morning and was able to get service, right? So think about that. And remember, offering omni-channel customer service is a marketing gem. Again, we talked about omni-channel marketing, I want to say back in November when we did the retail marketing series. So you can always, again, go to our Facebook page and rewatch that series and email us if you want the presentation. But we went into lengths about the omni-channel marketing. And just for those that may need a reminder, omni-channel is a multi-channel approach that it seeks to provide customers with a seamless experience, whether they're shopping online with you from a desktop or from a mobile device, or they're calling you by telephone, or they're in a physical brick and mortar space with you. Whatever it is, they're receiving a seamless experience, meaning I can start a conversation on your website with your bot and decide to come into your store, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have to go through all of this again. You can say, yeah, I was talking to an agent on the website, and they'll just pull up whatever and be able to pull up your file. Like that's a simple example of omni-channel. That small, simple, for many of us, we're probably thinking, duh, but you would be amazed to find out how many people don't provide that as a customer service journey experience. So think about omni-channel in all of your customer service, okay? Okay, where are we? 110. All right, we're doing good. All right, so I may or may not have said this in this particular series already, but know that SEO will continue to be an important aspect of digital marketing as we move through 2021, go into 2022. It's not going anywhere. So with that in mind, we're now seeing one of the most major shifts in the SEO industry in like the last decade. And this relates to customer service and audience targeting because people are changing the way they use search engines like Google. People are changing the way they're using those things. And that's important for you to know as you think about customer service and as you think about targeting your audience. So being number one in the SERPs, and SERPs is search engine result pages. So being number one in the search engine results pages is no longer necessarily the primary goal your business should be aiming for. Okay, customer search and browsing behavior has changed in the last few years, mine included. So I know this is true. The way we search for things, it has changed in the last few years. So it is always great to be the first organic company at the top or on the first page because you did your SEO correctly. So continue to do that. What this is saying as far as the changes that we see is that what they're now calling featured snippets and featured information. Customers no longer need to click through it. So even if you're on the top page, we no longer need to click to go to your website to get the information we're looking for. We're now searching for exactly what we want. You know, we will type, and you all know this because I'm sure you do it. We will type exactly what we want, and the way the featured snippets pop up, it'll answer that particular part of your question from a website instead of having it lead you to the website. It's even as intelligent with with YouTube. If I search, you know, I'm trying to know how to use a particular product in my house. Now, if you notice with the searches and I'm doing this strip because that's how it looks on Google. They'll have the video strips, and it'll show you, you know, second 15 to second 1 minute and 12 is where you will get the answers to your question, right? That's what YouTube, but the same thing is happening with text. So whatever question you ask, Google, and I'm sure other search engines are doing this. I only use Google, but Google and other search engines are now giving you that snippet, whatever it is you're searching and requesting, they're giving you that snippet as your search result, as opposed to focusing on getting people to click to come to your website. So just know that that's important, because your customers are now going to be, they're going to go to the company that has set up their SEO to do the snippets. That's important for you to know. And snippets appear, like, they can appear in various places on that page. They won't always be where we think it'll be. Sometimes it's on the side of the screen, like I just used the YouTube example. Now sometimes they'll give you a strip of video. Sometimes they'll start your search with Google Images listed at the top instead of all of the links that you normally would do. So it's in various different parts of the search page. So be mindful of that. And again, this information typically will be before the organic listing. So, you know, you could still be an organic listing, but if the featured snippet has 10,000 things, that's going to be what's first before your organic snippet. So think about that process as you are creating and targeting your customers. That area between the ad and the organic search, they are now calling that position 0. On Google and other sites, they're calling it position 0. And what I will say about this is that the data shows that over 60% of people right now are using that as their search engine anything. And the experts anticipate that that number is only going to increase. So right now, big brands and companies are still trying to figure out how to achieve position 0, because you know you can't pay Google to say, hey, put me in position 0. You have to be smart, just like you have to be smart with SEO. So they're trying to figure out how to achieve position 0, because it does require different SEO techniques than those for normal listing. But if you can be one of the first or the first in your industry or in your location or whatever it is to get your company to be part of that position 0, you'll have a huge advantage over your competitors. And more importantly, as it relates to the session, it'll add value to your customer's journey as it relates to how quickly they're able to get your information and decide, oh, this company is it. They got exactly what I need, right? So again, we can all expect to see more SEO companies offering these services over the next year. So be sure to pay attention to the latest best practices. And I won't spend too much time on the voice search piece of this, but I will say that as you think about your company and you're thinking about the customer service angle, make sure that you do the research, if you haven't already, to make sure things like Alexa and Siri and all of those things know how to answer about your company. And there may be a different session I have to do on marketing outside the box beyond today, but you want to make sure that if I say, hey, Alexa, if I say, hey, Siri, and I ask about CJ's company or Rachel's company or Shannon's business, like if I ask about those things, they're giving me the answer, because the data around voice search is that it's only increasing, and they don't expect to see that decline anytime soon. That's going to play directly into your customer's experience with your brand. Because if I ask Google, I mean, yeah, I guess Google is one of them, but if I ask Google or Siri or Alexa a question and they're giving me answers from your competitors, you've potentially lost a customer because now as a customer, I'm relying on Alexa to help me figure out which company is going to provide me this or provide me that. So spend some time over the next couple of months to make sure your company is set up to be competitive in that way, because it's the wave, it's what's next. And if you want to be able to be stellar, and like I said, the standard is excellent. If you want to be excellent with your customers, then you got to keep up with all of this, okay? And this all ties again to your target audience, because I would say I would be surprised if you have an audience that is not moving towards any of these things, because that's just the way time is moving. That's just the way generations are moving. So if you do have an audience that's not into all this technology, there's a chance that it don't apply to you. But I would say you should still do it, because I shouldn't say what I'm about to say. I mean, but generations die off. People die, and you're going to get stuck with the generation that is using it. So you might as well get accustomed to it, okay? That was so horrible for me to say. Anyways, so here we are. Which one is more memorable? So assume that the amount of time and money invested in creating a single excellent customer experience and a single marketing advertisement are equal. Let's assume that amount of time and the amount of money to do that, to create that excellent customer experience and create that marketing advertisement, that it's the same amount of time and the same amount of money invested, right? In both of the scenarios, the target audience is a customer or a prospective customer. So all things equal in this scenario, which one is more memorable? Which one do you think is more memorable to that customer? Do you think that they're going to remember that marketing advertisement more, or do you think they're going to remember that customer experience more?
Definitely the customer experience. I mean, it's more personal than just an ad that could go to anyone.
Correct. I agree 1000%. I think the experts agree 99.99% that most likely the positive customer experience is what's going to stick with them. PwC, they did a study, and in the study, I think it was 65%, and this was in 2019, so it may not be the same anymore. 65% of customers in the US find a positive experience with a brand to be more influential than great advertising. And I think we all know that. We know that we have to market. You know that you have to market. But like I told you all last week, marketing is more about awareness. It's about attraction, but it's not about sales, and it's not about the customer experience, right? Marketing is what brings them to your attention. It keeps you top of mind. It makes you stand out from your competitors. But that customer experience is it's gonna be more memorable. It could be the make or break. That customer service that you provide could be the make or break besides choosing between you and company B, C, D, and E, okay? Customer service is also an opportunity for a company to deliver. Just remember, it's an opportunity for a company to deliver an emotional experience. So when you're talking about comparing customer service to marketing, you know, we've stressed in marketing outside the box every single time that you want to try to make that emotional connection with a potential customer or with a current customer. Like, you want to make that emotional connection through marketing. Customer service automatically gives you that emotional connection. Automatically, because again, customer service is an opportunity for a company to deliver an emotional experience. So do everything you can to make your customer service come across as human, okay? Make sure that your customer service come across as human and emotional as possible. Speaking of which, we started today with a definition. And I want to, as we come closer to a close, I want to end with another definition, and that's simply the definition of customer service. We talked about customer service this entire series, and I just want to ensure that you embrace the meaning behind it. Customer service is the provision of service to customers before, during, and after a purchase. Before, during, and after. That's where your customer service happens. So it's not something like once they become a customer. Your customer service is happening even before that person makes that purchase, and even after you make that sale. And this is for products or services. Even after you make that sale, customer service is constantly still happening. What's not on the screen here with this definition is a reminder that your team, and I've said this already today, but I have to stress it because it's so important to customer service. Your team, your employees, even if it's just you all hold the responsibility of the perception of the success that this pre, through, and post interaction requires in the definition of customer service. Your team, whoever is part of your team, you are responsible for what customer service looks like to your customers, to your consumers. And that, again, that's before, during, and after a purchase. So you hold that responsibility. That goes back to, I think Rick was the other person that said personal responsibility was the one thing he would choose. That goes back to trying to really figure out which one is more important, because customer service is all on you. It's all on you. It is all on you and your team. Okay. Let's see here. So as I close out this series, just remember, great customer service leads to more satisfied customers than an ad ever could. Adopt a marketing mindset in your customer service and a customer service mindset in your marketing. Let me say that again. Adopt a marketing mindset in your customer service and a customer service mindset in your marketing. If you do that, you'll be well on your way to creating better customer experiences. I probably said this 10,000 times already today. I'm going to say it 10,001. When it comes to customer service, and honestly, when it comes to anything, but since we're talking about customer service, when it comes to customer service, the standard is excellence. There's nothing else that should be acceptable to you, your company, your brand. That the standard should always be excellence. Anytime I have to travel and I rent a car, I do it with Hertz. And I'll tell you something that I used to find like appalling with Hertz, like with their team, their employees. When you do the reviews, I think I've shared with you all multiple times, I am a reviews person. Like I take reviews. Like I have a review that I'm doing for you today. I do reviews. I do reviews. I believe in them. And one thing that used to surprise me with Hertz is that because you're reviewing your experience with whoever you interacted with, and their score is like 1 to 5. If they don't get a 5, they failed. So a 4 is still a good score, but in that company's eyes, you failed. And I used to be like, I can't believe that. That's just so mean. I used to be like, the service wasn't that great. It was fine, but it wasn't that great. So I'll give you a 4. And I used to think it was okay until one of the employees really explained to me the way their scoring worked. They was like, yeah, if we don't get that 5, it don't really matter. And I was like, really? And when he explained it and broke it down to me and I truly understood it, I was like, you know what? I could respect that, because what the company is telling you is that you need to wow me as a customer every single time. You should never get too comfortable with your customers. Every interaction should be like, wow. And I think in the first session of this series, I talked about, what is her business downtown? It escapes my name right now, but goodness, what's her business? But anyways, Body and Soul, that's what it is. I talked about Miss Dana Suggs at Body and Soul. She wows me every single time without question. And that's just amazing. And I think that's what you all should aim to do as you think about customer service, as you think about marketing. So again, I'm going to read this one more time. Adopt a marketing mindset in your customer service and a customer service mindset in your marketing, because truly there's a very thin line between the two, extremely thin line between the two. Okay. So with that, that is it for this series. We have about 3 minutes for me to answer any questions you all may have. And I do want to set your mind for the topic for the month of May. We're doing word of mouth marketing, same time, same place. We're going to do things a little different in May. We're going to have someone who I think in our community she's amazing with her word of mouth marketing. She'll open the series for us, and then I'll come back the week 2 with. I'll still be here week 1 too, but week 2 we'll go over a lot of information as far as theories and strategies that you can put into practice. And in the 3rd week we'll do something a little different as well. There won't be a session week 4 in May for several reasons. Reason number 1, that particular day, May 26th, is my birthday. So I will not be at Marketing Outside the Box. We won't be here, so don't plan to schedule that. I think we need to take it off the list. By the way, Tasha, if you're still here. And the second reason is that's also the week of Memorial Day, so we won't have it during that week. But with that, that's all I have for you all today. Anyone have any questions for me as we have about 2 more minutes left? Any questions about anything?
Thanks, Magali. Awesome as always.
Thank you, Rachel. I think we're good. Looks like we lost a few people. Thank you, Wanda. And this presentation you all will receive by Friday. So you'll definitely get it by Friday. But if there aren't any questions, I appreciate all of you. Lorena, if you have 1 minute to stay afterwards, I have a quick question for you. If you have time, if not, I'll email you. Just so you all know, I think I already shared it, but I'm going to share it again. I'm leaving to Ecuador next week. So please pray for safe travels and safety. I'm taking all the safety precautions. I'll still be at Marketing Outside the Box next week because I love y'all. So I'll be here. But I will.
Thank you and safe travels.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Magali, this is by far the very best business services program, podcast, whatever. I've looked at many of them. None compare with this one. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, you all have a great rest of your day. If you don't have any more questions, and same thing to you all on Facebook. Let me go ahead and stop the Facebook Live. But thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Have a great rest of your day on Facebook as well. Bye, you all.